if you would please all rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'd like to thank everybody for being here. We've got probably some people who are virtual, and we've got a nice audience. Thank you for your interest and participation. The roll. Miranda, do we have the roll? Awesome, thank you. Next action item is to approve the agenda.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, so moved. And let's move to open forum. Do we have anybody who'd like to speak?
No, ma'am.
Thank you. Consent agenda. So these are, if you'd like to just kind of quickly review the consent agenda. And if you are comfortable with that, maybe we could get a motion.
I'll make a motion to accept the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Any further discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
So moved. And now we're into the regular agenda, and looks like we're going to be kicking off with some planning, right, Kendra? Thank you.
Yeah, good evening, Mayor, City Council members, Kendra Elner, City Planner. And the first item tonight is Block 3 of Lot 5, the Chisago Lakes Golf Estates Drainage and Utility Easement Vacation. This is within the Chisago Lakes Golf Estates subdivision that was platted in April of 2021. It will include 32 detached townhome lots, and this is located between 292nd Street and the golf course. The proposal is for Lot 5. It is circled in the red. So the request stemmed from an administrative adjustment for a extension of the lot line to the east 15 feet, and it resulted in drainage and utility easement vacations so that the builders could increase the buildable area for their new home. So staff has reviewed and tentatively approved the administrative adjustment request contingent on tonight's discussion and action from the City Council on the drainage and utility easements. And staff has reviewed the proposed lots that meet the PUD standards for the development, so those are consistent. So the proposal for the drainage and utility easement vacation include the 5-foot easement on the original lot. So the original lot starts there, and then an additional from the administrative adjustment, an additional outlot easement that is included as part of the adjustment. So this will ultimately result in a new, well, not new easement, but it will result in a easement that has been applied from the underlying outlot. So it will just be reestablished for the lot and not need to be established as a new easement. So council is required to hold public hearings and review easement vacations. So I will turn it back to City Council, Mayor and City Council tonight to hold the public hearing and act on the request. And the suggested motion is on the screen, and happy to answer any questions. I don't believe the applicant is here tonight, so I'm doing my best.
And do we need to?
Yeah, we're gonna vote.
We choose.
Yeah, we need to
We need a motion.
open public hearing.
I'll make a motion to open the public hearing for this easement vacation.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. So we are now open public hearing.
Anyone online?
Do we have to, yeah, do we have anybody online that's asking to speak or anything?
The technology isn't working, this needs to be replaced.
So,
I am YouTubing, but that is the best I can do it.
okay. So no,
That's a good answer.
okay.
Make a motion that we close the public hearing.
Yeah, could we just, anybody want to speak? Yeah, I think we need you to come here. Just give us your name and address.
Name is Dave Schwinghammer, and I'm building at 12567 Masters Lane, so just down around the corner. So are they adding to the lot size?
That is correct.
So it was 50 feet and now it's gonna be 65 feet,
It's going to be actually 75 feet.
75 feet?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, that was my only question. So, I'm good, thanks.
Okay. Anybody else?
I'll make a motion that we close the public hearing.
Second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, so moved.
Okay, I'll make a motion that we accept resolution.
Yeah.
2025-1119-03, approving the vacation of a drainage and utility easement within Lot 5, Block 3, Chisago Lakes Golf Estates, 12600 Masters Lane.
Second.
And discussion on that. I know it's gone through planning. It was very thoughtfully handled in planning. So if there's no further discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, so moved.
All right, next item is a variance request at 1360 North Third Avenue. And the applicant is requesting to build a new series of garage stalls to improve the parking, storage, and ability to have property maintenance on site. The property is currently split zoned R1 and R4. The project area is within R1, so this northern half, or northwestern half mostly. And it was recently approved as a lot combination earlier this year. And it is outside of the Shoreland Overlay District, so it is allotted 50% of the lot area for impervious surface. So staff did do a lot and site dimension analysis, and as you can see, there is two zoning districts to compare to. So R1 and R4 are the requirements are above, and the current conditions exceed the zoning district standards. So the property is in compliance. The current site has two 11-unit apartment buildings with approximately 32 uncovered on-site stalls, and then in addition, 8 garage stalls. So staff did do analysis on the minimum parking requirements, which is 1 space per bedroom plus 1 visitor space for every 10 dwelling units. So not knowing exactly how many dwelling units are in each unit, I did a general 1-unit scenario and a 2-unit or 2-bedroom scenario. Sorry, 1 bedroom and 2-bedroom scenario. So that's at a range of 24 to 34 spaces. And the applicant is still meeting that with this proposal. So it is reducing the on-site stalls, but increasing the garage stalls. So the Planning Commission did review this item originally at the August 7th meeting, and the initial design was for 4 variance requests, and it has since been reduced to 2, with it being tabled for the applicant to provide more information. And then at the November 6th meeting, the Planning Commission reviewed the table requests, and as you can see, the 2 that were reviewed or eliminated were the corner side yard setback and the height. So tonight we will be reviewing the accessory structure area and roof pitch. So for the first variance request, the structure is being requested to increase the footprint amount allowed from 2,000 square feet to 6,242 square feet. The original proposal was over 7,000 square feet, so it has been reduced about 900 square feet. And the original proposal also had the stalls in a row, and the new revised design is this L-shaped. And the second variance is for the requirement to vary from the roof pitch to be similar to that of the primary structure. The primary structure of the 2 apartment buildings are flat roofs, And this structure is recommended to be pitched roofs for better drainage and snow melt. So this is a screenshot of the survey, and the accessory structure will continue to be used mainly as residential garages. However, in the previous design, previous slides, and I could go back at any point, it shows the footprint, and there will be 2 stalls that will serve as a utility and maintenance and storage purposes. In the original proposal, there was no parking reconfigured on site. This proposal does show parking reconfiguration with 60-degree parking stalls, and it reduces, so it's about 18 stalls on site, so that has reduced the number of stalls currently existing. And then the other concern from the Planning Commission and from the public hearing was impervious surface drainage and stormwater. That has now been addressed. The applicant did mention at the Planning Commission meeting that the property does slope to the east. So when they do the construction, they will also regrade it to ensure that the pond and ditch, everything drains into this new stormwater pond. And any snow that is accumulated will be monitored to be hauled off site if needed. So those were the 2 items that came up during the 2 items that came up during the Planning Commission meeting was clarification of the use of stall number 2, which is in the northwest corner, and south west corner is going to be a use for snow removal. So this northwest corner stall will host just storage, lawn equipment. It will not have any vehicle access. So this is just entirely for property maintenance use. And then again, the confirmation of proposed stormwater design. The city engineer has had the opportunity to review and had no concerns. So everything was addressed from the concerns from the public hearing. So as city council may be aware, variances shall only be permitted when they are in harmony with the general purpose and intent of the section, when they are consistent with the comprehensive plan, and when the applicant establishes there are practical difficulties. And practical difficulties are within the requirement or criteria of the 4 items in the slide and in the packet. So Planning Commission did review this application and recommended approval of the variance for the maximum detached accessory structure allowable area to be 6,242 square feet and to allow for an 812 and 612 roof pitch instead of the flat roof. So, and they also supported the following findings of fact and conditions. So I will turn it back to City Council to take action and discuss this request. The applicant is in the audience tonight if you have specific questions, and I'm happy to bring up any of the plans if we would like to look closer at them. Apologies, they were not directly in the packet. There was a link to the Planning Commission packet in respect to the amount of paper. So apologies that wasn't included, but.
You saved a tree though.
Yes,
so
saved a
that's good.
tree.
Dave?
Yeah, could you put up the plat? And a question for the owner, how many 1-bedroom and how many 2-bedroom are in the property?
One building is 7 2-bedrooms and 4 1-bedroom. The other building is 6 or 8 2-bedrooms and 3 1-bedrooms.
Mike?
So is there enough off-street parking then for everybody in those buildings?
Correct,
Okay.
we aren't losing any parking
Okay.
for our current
That's what I thought. Okay,
condition, yes.
thank you.
Now, I calculate that we need to have a 41 parking spots. When with what he has just told us, with there's 15 2-bedroom, which is 30 spaces, 7 1-bedroom, which is, excuse me, I multiplied, which is 37. And where 32 is what's being proposed. So we need a variance for not having enough parking spaces.
the minimum requirement.
Yes,
I can't do math that quick, so, and then there's also, the other part to it is the one visitor space for every 10 dwelling units, so that needs to be
so
included.
it's gonna be 39 is what we need then. He's got 15 two-bedroom and 7 one-bedroom.
So yes, he would need more parking, minimum parking spaces. That would be the variance, that's correct.
Okay. Any idea how you'd be able to get your extra 7 parking spaces?
This has been a very long journey. I do have proposals of adding more parking spaces, especially on the west driveway. And the hard part is it puts us over our 50% impervious. We've also tried acquiring more land from adjoining properties. We did acquire some, but we haven't added it to the property yet. So Kendra does have a plan that shows, I think it's 6 more parking spots that we could do parallel parking along the left side or the west side of the driveway. Which would put us, I don't remember, but I think it would put us at 54% impervious. So, and then, we're open to really doing anything because I would love to see no street parking at all for our tenants and keep everybody in the parking lot. Another proposal that I had was where it says now or formerly on the lake was to add, 2 to 4 parking spots there that are for visitors and the mail lady, mail carrier when they come to do the mail. Cause I drive that road every morning to drop my son off at school. It's a busy road and I like to encourage my tenants not to park on the street there because any cars parked down there, it makes it hard to drive through there because it's not a very wide road. So unfortunately, without going over the impervious, there's not a lot of options for us. We can add some property to it. Like I said, we have, some property that we have to the west, the second lot up, that we can take some of that property and add it, so it'll give us more impervious as well.
So may I suggest, I mean, this has been with the planning commission, right? Do we need to send it back to the planning? Because I don't know that this is probably the ideal place to be hashing all this out. Do we need to just send it back to the planning commission?
I got a lot of questions that I'd like to at least let them know what my questions are. I've got other issues besides just this.
So should that go back to the planning commission with your questions, so that we're working in concert with the planning commission?
No, there's a couple of things. I mean, there is one spot where you couldn't get some parking spaces. If you took out 2 of the, on the L, if you took out 2 spaces on the, on your L, took out 2 of the indoor garage spaces, would make a slightly smaller building. But in addition to that, you'd be able to extend the angle parking and probably end up with the parking that you wanted by removing those 2 parking spaces, those 2 garage spaces on the very end.
May I suggest that we take that, Dave, you go to the planning commission, it's good, but I think that's the place where we hash some of these out. I think it's important.
Yeah, but he needs to know what the questions are gonna be.
But you can
Because
take
they-
them to Brian right next door here.
Okay, well, I've got a question on the drainage ditch. As far as you've got 5 feet on the back to put, is that gonna be enough space to put the drainage in?
We moved the building from a 5-foot setback to 10-foot on both the north and west side.
Oh, okay, good enough. Yeah, because this didn't show that as far as what I'm looking at here, so thank you. Oh, on there,
On it, it says 5 feet, that shows you where the zoning setback is.
okay,
And we're another 5 feet to the red line, which is where the building is.
okay, thank you, I appreciate that, a detail I missed. Okay, and then, I had to do, the only other real thing that I'll bring up, well, two other issues. One is where do you put your, where are you gonna put your trash container?
The plan is to put it right back where it is located on the east side of the building. Where, right by the pond.
Now that, that's gonna either take away one of the parking spaces or or one of the garage spaces. There isn't, the way that, at least that's been drawn on that drawing, there isn't room to put to put it in and people to either use that last parking space or to get into the garage. You just basically don't have enough room next to the pond there without taking away an angle parking.
Well, that,
Yeah.
Yeah, and then the last thing I want to bring up is the elevation. Are you between the first, second, and the third building? Are you putting retaining walls to help with your elevation?
yes,
You are,
they're not
okay.
gonna be actual retaining walls, they're gonna be foundation walls.
And
So
then
they will be going down below frost.
now I'm going to bring up. I did attend the planning commission meeting on the 7th of August, and one of the biggest issues for the neighbors was the size of was not only the height, but the overall size of the building. Now you're proposing an 812 height and a 612 roof height. Yet the structure that you have right now is a 412. And
No, it's a 612.
and it looks like everybody in the neighborhood is also 412.
No,
Hey, look-
there are a bunch of people in the neighborhood that have more than a 412 pitch.
Yeah. I didn't see any when I drove by. But anyway, if you lowered it to basically the 412, which is allowed, would allow that building to be 5 feet shorter. Another thing is, I believe garages in residential areas can only be 8 foot on the walls, and you are proposing 11 feet on the walls. So that would be another variance.
That is actually.
So, yeah, Kendra, do you want to comment on
Yes.
this?
Yes, so I want to state that the current existing conditions for the parking is approximately 40 stalls total. And staff does not have a concern about the proposed garages, even reducing the parking on site, because the issue is that the storage and parking altogether. So the applicant is increasing the covered parking on site. And as mentioned, there are some complications with increasing impervious surface. And then in regards to the height, the minimum height is 12 feet sidewall height. So I'm not sure where you're getting the 11.
You say maximum?
Yes, the maximum is 12 feet sidewall height, so.
No, because I was, when I built on several years ago, but the standard was for residential areas was 8 foot, was all I was allowed.
It depends on your lot size. So this is a different lot size than a traditional R1, R4 site. It's split zone, so that also complicates things. So when you are in a certain lot area, you have a different allocation for your height.
Because I got
And I
a
can
very
pull the
large
map if
lot,
you'd like.
acre and a half. So, but I was still only that, half, 8 foot. Okay, well,
It's-
What? Yeah. Yeah, this has been going around for a while. And I think, one of the big things that I mentioned too was still some of the neighbors' concerns of this particular structure behind the garages, right? So what is that needed for? Why is it? Are we setting a precedence here that we can have a large storage area on an apartment building area when all other apartments don't have a 2,000 square foot extra garage that's there? I had a question about the back garage door. If we don't have access to it, is the 10 by 9 overhead garage door in the back corner, is that adjacent to the house that you own
No.
to the west? Okay. How are you accessing that and why do you need
We
it?
have a 10-foot setback there.
Okay.
So we have 10 feet to the property line,
Okay,
and that will give us adequate space to bring our mowers and stuff in there,
okay,
but it's not gonna allow us the ability to park a car in there.
okay, okay. Because there was concerns that people had a legitimate concern that you were gonna operate a business, a separate business out of there for maintenance of other properties. And it's gonna be headquartered out of that open space back there. And I think that's a legitimate question and concern.
As we talked
So,
about last time at the planning commission, I have recently acquired a building in Chisago City that I do run my business out of.
sure,
So the business is not gonna be ran out of there, but it is a business.
Mhm.
It's an apartment building. It is a business, whether you like it or not, that's what it is. So,
yeah, I'm just stating the concerns that the people in the area have expressed and others, so that was sharing that with the council.
I have since our last meeting 2 weeks ago, I have talked to two of the adjoining neighbors, and they are, to what they told me, are happy with the adjustments and don't have any issues with it. No,
Mike?
Is there adequate parking right now for everybody that's in that apartment building?
yes, there's more than adequate.
Thank you.
And Brian, the planning commission, I was called over there too in this summer. But my understanding is at this point in time, the planning commission is recommending this, correct?
They did.
Okay.
But they didn't realize that there wasn't enough parking spots.
Right. If that's the case.
So maybe we need to send it back.
Is that the case?
And is there any way that you would consider lowering the height, from 812 to 612 for that building? It will consider that in order to have less impact on your neighbors for the size of the building and height.
I would have to go to my architect and go off this is what he drew up and planned. It's not what I want, it's not my choice, it was what he recommended for the structure and the building.
Okay,
And if I could just also comment on the parking stalls for the whole site, I have spoken with Mike quite a bit about the impervious calcs for this parcel. That as you add parking, you're either having to demo a building or acquire additional property, because he is right at that 50% threshold. So there isn't an easy way to add in just a handful of extra stalls to it. Given the fact that if he was at 32, he's still at 32 with his proposed, it wasn't a net loss of parking. It was basically taking it from uncovered to covered parking. So that's why that parking issue was not a major concern of staff at the time, because of the fact that this was, say, on a 5-acre parcel somewhere that had plenty of capacity for additional pervious. Yeah, absolutely, I had those additional parking stalls. But given it was sort of a 1-to-1, there wasn't a major loss of parking or a major gain. It was sort of, is an improvement because it's going to be covered parking versus uncovered parking, is how staff approached that.
yeah, well, I had counted the number of spots out there and there was 23 plus 4 and plus 8 is 31, 35 that are basically paved or inside. And then there is probably to the very, on the west side of the property where it is just gravel right now. There's probably enough room for another 5 or 6 spots. So I mean, there really is over 40 parking spots right now, on that property. And we're lowering it to 32. And that's kind of where my point is. I really think we need to, because it's one-way parking on the street in front of the house. They can't park on the other side of the street. So it's, and then they can't park in the wintertime.
So I would like some guidance here because it feels like we're digging into the details of a planning commission topic. So either are we gonna bring it back to the planning commission or are we going to go forward and call a vote?
Planning staff does not have any concerns about the total number of minimum parking requirements. Staff thinks that the current proposal is adequate and meets the variance standards. I would look to the city council to determine if you guys could provide direction on what exactly you would like the applicant or staff to provide back to the planning commission for review. Or make a motion for other means of approval or denial.
You guys have?
So does anybody want to make a motion here?
Make a motion to accept resolution number 202-51119-04.
A second.
Any further discussion? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed?
Nay.
So we've got a 4-1. Thank you. All right, Kendra, are you done or do we have a seat for
I
you?
believe I am complete.
Oh, we flip it over to Mr. Bachmeyer now, don't we?
Good evening, Mayor and council members. Brian Bachmeyer, Consulting City Engineer. The first item I have is in regards to the lift station 2 access improvement sewer lining and meter manhole project. We brought plans before the city council in October for approval, and at that time we were directed two things really. One was to meet with the abutting property owners to see if there were any concerns with the project. And then secondly, to provide some virtual images of elevations showing the views from both Park Street and then also from the lake looking back to the north. Those are in your packet. I would just point out that, we tried to do it as cost effectively as we could, so they're not very, may not be totally perfect, but I will point out that if you look at them, you can see the standby generator and you can all see the control panel for the lift station. Those are the two physical features that will be above the grade of the improvements. From this point, we're looking for direction for the council on input regarding the height of the chain link fence, the color of the fence, and also the color of the retaining wall. We do have some suggestions. We would suggest that you consider a 4-foot high fence that matches the existing height of the fence that's out there currently. And it also will minimize any diminishment in the view, in the visual enjoyment of lake. Secondly, that you consider a black fence, so that kind of blends in with the street improvements and also the driveway improvements, doesn't stand out. And then the third recommendation is to consider a retaining wall, gray color, so that it blends in with the rock that is along the shore of the lake. So again, to kind of diminish the appearance of the structure. The other recommendation I have tonight is also, we would like to include the removal of the evergreen tree that exists on the east side, or excuse me, on the west side of the lift station. It's right on the property line. The abutting owner is supportive of removing that tree, and we do think it would be, help us in, we don't have to try to protect it during the course of construction. And so we think it offsets the cost of the removal versus the preservation. The request tonight is for the council to approve the plans and then authorize the advertisement and collection of bids.
Thank you. Do we have any questions or comments? Mike?
Brian, did you say that tree is our property?
It's right on the property line.
Okay,
the
and
trunk.
you said he was okay with it?
Yes, in fact, he requested it
I
and we
remember
looked
you
at
had
it.
done it one time before, if I'm not mistaken. To get rid of that one,
Okay,
but, okay, right?
Yeah, well, that was the one, but
Oh,
he's
okay.
okay with that one too,
Yep,
because it's old.
Okay,
It's old.
thank you.
And I wanted to start by, just thanking you for all your work and certainly your technical skills. Just want to acknowledge, I did not give clear and precise feedback last month. I apologize for that. Because in general, I don't think the council should be picking the color of a chain link fence. I really don't. Really, my intention on the feedback was, let's make sure all of us, we're just really communicating closely on any project with our residents, especially adjacent. And then, yeah, the visual piece has more to do with, this is a part of the downtown because they see the water, they're up on Main Street and they walk right down the middle of Park Street. And so I was just trying to, tune into some aesthetics. And we should probably keep our comments at that 20,000 foot view. So I do appreciate checking in with Neil.
Okay.
And I do appreciate knowing that folks are going to be able to kind of look out at the lake and go, what a pretty town.
Mhm.
So thank you.
welcome.
Dave?
Yeah, Brian,
Yes.
Now, is there going to be a viewing station and then there will be along the retaining wall? Will there be a fence or on top of the retaining wall?
There will not be a fence, there will be a guardrail.
Guardrail?
The fence will run perpendicular to the street, right where the street ends, and it goes onto the lift station site. That's where the fence will be. It doesn't go around the site, it just,
Will people be able to get out on the,
no,
where the guardrail is? And
No.
people won't be able to get
No.
out. But I mean, even so, there's still gonna be pretty good view, as good a view as they have now. And without the trees that are growing in front of it, it'll even be better.
Yeah, it'll be clean, oh, it'll be significantly cleaned up from what it is today.
Do we want to choose the color or just let them decide?
I think, yeah, no, I think, well, I'd agree with what he's
okay.
proposing.
Yeah.
Yep.
That'd be my 2 cents, so. And I'd like to say too, I think, we can't stress enough, I agree with Judy that we're about the people, communicate first, ask for help and suggestions from our people surrounding areas. Once we have their buy-in, the stuff goes so much smoother.
Mhm.
And so, I know that happens to be my mother on the other side, appreciated being asked, talked to, have an opportunity to give feedback. And so that was, she said that the process was awesome, was great for her. So that's the kind of, that's what we want to get for feedback instead of like we jam something down somebody's throat and nobody had any say. So really appreciate you,
All right.
you guys
Appreciate
doing
the
that.
direction.
So yeah, thank you so much.
And I think it's gonna look 100% better than it looks.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
There's no question about it.
Yeah.
It's gonna look really nice, and I think it'll be a good addition to what, the way you
Yeah.
guys have got it planned out that way. I really do.
And was there, and maybe I missed it, as far as the materials used for the retaining wall, I do have a concern that, you know, it's either like cast concrete or cast block is not a great option for a long-term viable retaining wall.
Okay.
I've seen it fail so many times, so if it's the bigger cast concrete blocks, I think that's just a better wall. So I don't know what exactly you're, not that we need to get in the middle of that,
Okay.
Right.
but we want a good product that's gonna last for a long time and not shift and move, so just making sure that. And as far as the maintenance plan, because obviously it hasn't been maintained very well for years, I would assume that we'll get this to Public Works and
Correct.
they'll stay on top of it.
And probably less maintenance
Yeah,
than what
right.
there's not, than there would be now.
Yeah,
And it's old,
yeah,
because when Neil's telling these guys when they came to visit, I was born in 1938 and I
Yeah.
watched going in 1948, so yeah, no,
Yeah.
it's kind of
Yeah.
humorous, actually. So, yeah, no, and I have watched the guys pumping stuff at night because something went wrong. And it's a slope, and if it's icy, that whole truck and those guys, they could all wind up in the lake. So this is good planning to really tackle this and make it safer.
Yeah,
Dave?
Brian, you've got all the specs here. Does it say what kind of a block is being used for the retaining wall? What is being bid?
Yeah, we did have a modular block wall listed in there, so I'll certainly go back and check to make sure it addresses just that concern.
Yeah.
So,
but maybe you've got more experience with it, we can make sure.
But
we've got a design team that specified it, and
Yeah.
it does have a minimum durability to it. In other words, it can't be very permeable. It has to, can't absorb moisture and salt.
Yeah.
Those kind of things that would accelerate the deterioration of the block, so.
Yeah. We can talk about that one. Yeah.
Okay,
So,
like it. I mean, it's $1 million, so
yeah.
it should last a while.
Better be good.
can we get a motion?
Well, there was one other little thing. You had talked about lining a little bit of the, also, how many feet is being lined?
Ooh, I'd have to look at the plan again. As I remember, it was about 1,400
Yeah, it's
feet.
quite a few.
Yeah, we're
Oh.
going from, down by Oak Street all the way up the park along the lake.
Okay, well, that's why it's.
Yeah, this
Yeah,
makes sense.
1,400 something.
Okay, all right, I'll make a motion for resolution 202-51119-05. Approving plans and specifications for lift station number 2, access improvements, sewer lining, and meter meter manhole removal project and authorizing the advertisement in bids.
A second.
Any further discussion? If not, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? So approved.
Awesome.
Good work, Brian. Glad we got this one through.
The next item I have is some additional work associated with the 295th Street project. During the course of the project, we determined that the storm sewer outlet pipe that goes out to South Center Lake is in very poor condition. It's a corrugated metal pipe, it's rusting, it's collapsing, and it needs to be replaced. So it was too late to be part of that project. We needed to get a DNR permit. We have now got the permit. We collected quotes for that work. I think we had 4 different contractors provide quotes. Gustafson provided the low bid of $46,069. In talking with the administrator, there is sufficient funds in the storm sewer utility account to cover this work. The recommendation is for the council to authorize the storm sewer replacement and accept the quote from Gustafson. But that is any question.
We have any questions for Brian?
I think they put a rusty culvert in there when they put it in there. No, I'm not kidding. No, I'm not kidding.
Yeah,
Okay.
No, my mom was like, they actually put in a subpar system to
Okay.
start
I'll
with.
make a
So,
motion that we accept the quote and authorize Gustafson Excavating to repair the 295th Street storm sewer outlet, and if the funds come from the storm sewer fund.
Second.
Any further discussion? Not, all in favor?
I,
Any opposed? So moved, unanimous. All right, thank you, Brian. We'll switch gears to strategic planners.
Yep, members of council, before you tonight is a proposal from Home Run Leadership to provide strategic planning services for the city of Lindstrom. The proposed strategic planning, if approved, would take place in late January 2026, with the delivery of the plan in February. I did talk to Dr. Dave, who runs Home Run Leadership. He does have a hold on his calendar right now for that later half of January. So if it's approved, we will be able to get those sessions done in January. What's being proposed is a 2-night planning session. So rather than do it on a Saturday for the full 8 hours, we'll break it into 2 evening planning sessions. The city council and the city's management team would get together, ideally probably off-site, probably at the fire station, just to kind of more neutral ground to have an environment where we can work easier together to create a sort of city strategic plan. What's different about Home Run Leadership is they actually use an app-based planning software system versus if you've been through strategic plans before, it's typically a lot of Post-it notes going on, pins that go on boards. Everything that he does is app-based, so everything goes into the computer system, and you work through as a group what are the priorities of the council. So staff has equal vote compared to council. So he uses equal weighted voting. So if there's 5 council members there and say 10 staff members, only 5 staff votes would count. So there's not unbalanced voted. So it's equal voting between council, elected officials, and staff. And then after you go through, you kind of see live your strategic plan kind of take shape live through the software program. I went through a demo, but it's actually pretty cool with the questions that he prompts you to answer. You start to see your plan come together live as you're going through the process. After he goes through the 2 the 2 planning sessions, Dave's team goes and creates an executive summary and a council report that then goes out to council. That features a concise overview of each priority, feedback themes, and recommendations, as well as, in my mind, the key point is action strategies. So what are those tangible steps that staff and the city can do to achieve those goals that are outlined in the plan? Again, the delivery of that action strategy would be in February, assuming we go on January planning sessions. In addition to going through the planning sessions, what's included in the proposal is also a subscription to the app. So what that will allow us to do is set the initial strategic plan in January. Then as we start to achieve those goals mid-season, we can do a mid-year check-in and reprioritize the remaining of the list. We'll have the tools that we can then use whenever we want to go back through another update to the strategic plan, we will have that ability as well as part of this package. I did review other strategic planners, met with them from a cost perspective and from a delivery perspective. You're not going to find one better than what's being proposed tonight. Staff is recommending approval of the proposal from Home Run Leadership for strategic planning services. With that, we would start planning in January. So with that, I have to answer any questions council has regarding strategic planning or the proposal that's before you tonight.
What is strategic planning and what is it going to achieve for us?
What it'll do is it'll help lay out the council's priorities. It'll also kind of help lay out what those action steps are. So what you'll get, if I can show you on the screen here, this is an example of the city of Wayzata's strategic plan. If this works here. What'll happen is that when this is set up and done, we'll get something similar to this, which says they determined that one of their goals was to diversify revenues. Desired outcome for them was to look at new and expanded revenue sources to meet growing needs while minimizing impact on residents. That then boils down to strategic initiatives. So what the staff will then focus on is finish and implement plans to maximize liquor enterprise solutions. That's their number one task on that. The benefit from a staff level is that we then know this has been vetted through council, that if I go through and I spend my time focusing on that number one, that is the priority that came out of the planning session. So there's no question to make sure that everybody's on board, this ranks to the top. So it helps provide some clarity from staff, what the council's focus is, but it also helps council then communicate out to residents what the focus of the city is. What are our goals? How are we going to get there? And then also, how can the boards and commissions help get that done as well? Right now, we have a loose framework, but getting this top level, midpoint, and drop down to the bottom to this initiative sections is really going to help focus staff's energy. It's going to help focus the council, and it's going to help make sure we're all rowing in the same direction when it comes to achieving the strategic initiatives of the city.
Other questions?
Well, I think it's great. My 2 cents on is like, we need to be rowing in the same direction. We all have different ideas, and how do you get those? We need to get them on paper. We need to get everybody's buy-in or not buy-in, and we need to have help to do that. And our commission's on board with what our strategic vision is from a council, and that flows all down. So I'm excited about the opportunity to help think forward and put the vision together. So
Just a question, where's the money coming from?
I've asked Kay, she's reallocated, I can't remember exactly where in the budget, but she did look at the budget for 26 and has allocated and earmarked the $10,000 for this. I don't have the exact budget items or lines are coming from, but it is incorporated into the proposed 26.
Now, we get a year of the program.
Mhm.
What is resubscribing? What is the yearly after that?
He didn't go in through, I mean, I'm assuming it's gonna be pretty similar to that 2,500 on an annual basis. While that is a cost, the benefit of it is you don't need to bring the planner back in every year. He specifically told me when I was meeting with him that this is set up sort of a train the trainer type thing, that once the city council and, staff understand what the process looks like, we then can go through a strategic planning session using the software every year, without having to bring back in Dr. Dave to facilitate. We can always bring him back in to facilitate if we feel there's value there, but the app provides us the tools to do so.
I'll make a motion.
Okay,
Yeah, I'll make a motion to approve the proposal from Home Run Leadership for strategic planning services.
I'll second.
And then
I-
further discussion.
yeah,
Yeah,
further
but-
discussion is that he had discussed 2 half-day sessions initially in the proposal, rather than, or 2 evenings. Now, are we gonna have 3 or 4 hour sessions in the evenings then?
The idea would be to have a session in the evening, 3 hours for, I mean, I looked at, I feel doing it over 2 nights versus trying to cram an 8-hour longer planning session, you're gonna run out of steam about, 4 hours in. So I figured there's a refresh point, come back. I know some cities will do it all in one day and just get it done, but the 2 sessions, I think, is a little bit more, it's easier. I think you get a better result by doing it over 2
So
sessions.
we are looking at basically in January 2 3-hour sessions.
in late January at this point. I still have to work his schedule to make sure that, because he's holding it right now, he's still drafting his schedule, so he'll give me some dates. I'll make sure according to everybody's schedule that we can get everybody there, for those planning dates.
So I have a question, management team members, who are the management team members?
Right now, what's being proposed would be myself, if we have a public works director, which is the next item on there, would be a part of that. The assistant city administrator and Kay would be on there. I've also asked Brian Bachmeyer to be present as well, to kind of start out, not trying to load it with every staff member, but more of the people who have this budgetary responsibility, who work planning responsibility would be the ones that are attending.
Thank you.
Mike?
Yeah, does this include, like, when we're talking about this, like, with what we would do with EDA, what we would do with, I mean, it's all of that, right?
Yeah, so
Parks, roads, I mean, it's the whole gamut of.
if there's an initiative that comes out, the way I take these strategic initiatives, and then they would be assigned. So if one say, I mean, whatever, beautify a park, that'd be assigned to the
Right,
Parks Committee.
okay.
So then that starts, you take these and then that sets their workflow, so then they report back, so you know what they're working on. Again, the benefit is, it comes from the fact that these are vetted by full council, they're vetted by staff, so we all know, here's the top 5 that we're working on, second 5, third 5, or next 5, just so we have some idea of where the priority for council lies.
And we would all have access to the app,
Yep, yeah, so when you come in, you actually bring a device in,
so you.
and then you log in, so
Okay.
it really anonymizes who's suggesting it, because you can't see who made the suggestion. So kind of, the ideas rise and fall on the merits of the idea rather than who proposed the idea.
And as far as the comprehensive plan, that'll be a separate process, correct?
Yep,
Yeah.
this is a great lead up to it, because it
Yep.
starts getting us thinking in that longer vision, and it also kind of helps from a staff perspective, know that what we're working on is in alignment with where council wants us to be.
And when do we plan on working on that, to update that?
It'd be starting,
So-
probably early Q3, I'm still working on getting the proposals on that, but that's what's leading out summer, fall of 26.
So I think this is needed. I certainly reviewed him and some others. I liked, his is a little bit more specific, and I think we need that. I really do. So we're pretty good sometimes at kind of saying, hey, let's prioritize on the downtown, but then we don't exactly know what that means next. So I like the fact that he was, behaviorally specific, certainly a lot of experience. Everything I see here looks like bread and butter, exactly what you do for a government entity. And I probably charged 20,000.
I looked them up too. I looked them up too, just to see what was going on. So it looked pretty good.
Yeah.
When you look it up.
Also, the price that he's not shy, knowing his competitions is significantly higher than that, and I did confirm that with some other municipal planning firms. And he is a bargain rate, but he also provides a quality product. I wanted to
yeah.
make sure he's not just doing this, and we're not getting a quality product. When I saw what was at his plan as the example, I was like, there's quality
That's good.
there.
So, yeah, so I like Brian, I think it's a good thing, and we need it. I think we need it. So we've had any further discussion? If not, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? All righty, so 4-1. And let's see here. Next, Dan.
Yeah, Mayor, members of council, this item is both sad and exciting. Anytime you're doing recruitment, it's exciting. Anytime somebody leaves the city, it's sad to say. I will say that Matt Freely has accepted a position with the city of North Branch, so he will be leaving the city of Lindstrom. He is going to be the city of North Branch's next public works director. His last day with the city will be December 5th, so he's got about 2 weeks left to transition out. I just want to comment, Matt has done a fantastic job for the city, implemented a lot of new workflows, new technology, and I wish him the best in his new position with the city of North Branch. In order to minimize the impact that Matt's departure will have on the city of Lindstrom, I'm requesting authorization to begin recruiting for replacement for Matt's position. I do have in the memo a draft timeline. The hard part about doing this recruitment right now is we're going to be up against the holiday season, which is a tough time to recruit in general. But I still think it's worth us getting out there despite that. So the goal would be to start advertising the position starting next Monday, keep it open for approximately a month right before Christmas, would close it. To do, after the position closes, I would do the review the position, or review the applicant pool, and then do candidate interviews after the first of the year, once we're kind of through the holiday season, with the goal of bringing back a candidate for approval in December. It's an aggressive timeline. I fully admit that's an aggressive timeline. We may need to adjust that back, just kind of depending upon where the pool is. But I do want to get this out there. I don't want to leave that position vacant too long, because there's going to be, we have a need for a public works director here within the city. I do also have on the dais a draft. It's the updated, it's more of a reformat update from the position, from the public works position, public works director position. If you want to take a look at that, provide any comments to me if you have anything that, you know, stands out as sort of odd to you. This is not substantially different than the one that was approved back, I think, 24, but late 23, we approved an updated version. This just reformats, so it's a little bit easier to read. I would ask for those comments to be back by Monday so I can get the position posted. But staff is requesting approval to post the open position and begin the recruitment process for a new public works director for the city of Lindstrom.
I'll make a motion that we allow Dan to advertise for a new public works director and follow through on whatever is necessary.
Second.
And discussion on that.
So let's make sure Matt takes a look at this too.
He did this afternoon.
Perfect.
I had him take a look at it and he confirmed all the licensing and everything was there. So he
Read
did,
my mind.
he did review it.
Thank you.
So I think, speaking on behalf of all of us, I think we've want to make sure we thank Matt. We appreciate what he's done. He's came in, he's grown with the city, and he's helped the city modernize. And good for him that he's going to a city twice, twice the size. So I just want to make sure we lead with that. I'd also like to comment that this is more than just easier to read. I think we're really pinpointing what's most important. So don't look for all the bullets. Look for the first bullets. Look for the headshot, the headlines here, because that's going to be our statement of what we're really requiring somebody to do. I want to reiterate Dan's urgency because they had 40 candidates up in North Branch and only one got the job. So let's just keep going, because there might be 39 other people who might be interested in a town that's only 12 miles away. Dave?
Yeah, I just wanted to comment that a few years ago, when I was on the council in 18 or 19, we did approve a foreman position. So we do have somebody who take a somewhat of a leadership, not in the same degree that as Matt, but really is there in the field. I just wanted to say we do have that already in mind.
And I also want to comment, I appreciate bringing that up. I have worked with the foreman to talk about how we transition through this transition period. So we do have a plan in place right now to keep operations going. I will say we're not going to be able to expand operation at this point. It's more of a lights on, but we do have an approach, and the foreman is an integral part of that. So I want to thank him for stepping up as well during this time.
There's no further discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Unanimous. All right, we move into County 19?
Yep, Mayor, members of council, before you tonight is an agreement between the city of Lindstrom and Chisago County for improvements being made to County Road 19. I want to lead out by saying I have confirmed with the county engineer that there are no costs to the city of Lindstrom for the improvements that are being done on the road or to the trail that's being improved as well as part of that project. All of the costs are being paid for by the county. Matt and Brian we've been involved in the process to date. We have looked at the initial plan sets for County Road 19, provided comments on the draft plans. The project's impacts to what the city has in that corridor are pretty minimal. There's a few impacts to some of our sewer lines that are there, just given some elevation changes. They have to do some, making sure that we have enough coverage on the existing sewer lines that are there. But the big news is that the trail along the north side of County Road 19 is getting reconstructed as a part of this project. It's also going to be completed all the way from County Road, or from Lofton all the way to County Road 14. So it'll be a complete trail segment now. Right now it sort of starts and stops. there's a continuation all the way through. This agreement says that Cuyahoga County will construct the trail, but then turn it back over to the city for maintenance. We already maintain that trail segment anyway, so we're getting a nice improvement from the county as a part of this project. Based on that, staff is recommending approval of the agreement with the county for the work on County Road 19. Anticipated construction timeline is starting in 26 and then have it completed in the fall of 26. The project will be wrapped up. So staff is recommending approval of the agreement with the county.
Can we get a motion on that?
I'll make a motion to accept this agreement.
I'll second it.
Any discussion on this one?
Yeah, just kind of, improving the trail, is there a way that that can be tied into the Swedish Immigrant Trail, either on Lofton or on Lincoln?
So not necessarily the Swedish Immigrant Trail. There is a spur section of trail that goes by where Thrifty White is that just dead ends. I'm in really, really early conversations with Joe about, is there a way for us to connect that trail segment up to the trail segment on 19? Because there's a need to connect that. As one who rides bikes there quite a bit, it's a weird spot to go through. He's said there's county right away that we could potentially access. So I'm working on the possibility of connecting it there. It wouldn't be part of the official trail, Swedish Immigrant Trail, but we are looking to make that connection so it comes back in and would give riders access to downtown and the Swedish Immigrant Trail.
And Dan, if I remember right, and maybe I'm wrong, when we had our Highway 8, wasn't there some talk about some of that too?
There's some talk as part of the phase 2 improvements of doing a widening of the sidewalk along
Right.
the north side that would improve pedestrian safety on the north side.
Right, to do that too.
But
so-
there's still, it's not finalized yet.
Right, but I know
They're
the
discussing.
discussion was
Yep,
there,
yep.
Dave, to do that, so. Through the Highway 8 funding, so.
The main thing is that corridor, as I live out in that area, that corridor is heavily, the current ditch,
It's busy.
the shoulder is heavily used, so having a trail all the
Yep.
way through will make that pedestrian traffic so much safer by having them on a off grade on a trail through there.
Nice.
So are we ready for a vote? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any
Aye.
opposed? So moved. If we move to discussion, Pleasant Hill Park.
Yes, just gonna follow up regarding the resident that had stopped in at the October meeting, had questions regarding how that infiltration basin is functioning, is working. I apologize, I wasn't at that meeting, but I did watch the video, so I think I kind of understood what his questions may be. But generally, the purpose of an infiltration basin is to treat the water, storm sewer water, the runoff, before it goes into the lake, generally to try to reduce erosion, sediment, slow down the water, and also to treat it, try to remove the phosphorus that's in the water through a combination of biological and physical settling through soil into a drain tile that goes out. Typically, those infiltration basins will be flooded for a 2 to 3 year period, or 2 to 3 day period. Allows it to filter out and settle down. If it goes more than 3 days, it would flood the grass and the vegetation and it would die. So you want it to drain out within 3 days, but not so quickly that there isn't time for the water to be treated before it goes out the storm sewer system. So I took a look at that design. It does appear to be properly designed. There's drain tile. It's limited to 2 feet in depth. It collects the storm sewer that's coming from downtown area, pretty large area, actually. Part of Lindstrom goes down through there. So it does seem to be appropriately sized and located before it goes into the lake. I think there was also a concern with some of the storm sewer culverts, and I think Public Works was able to address those and make any repairs.
Right, and you'll see these here, there's some images that came out, there's some questions on the safety of the inlets and the outlets, so Matt went out and took photos of the current condition of the inlets. And you see, believe one of these had some, the screen was damaged to it, that was replaced.
Yeah.
So both of those are fully graded right now and safe on the inlet side. And then also the outlet has the proper screening in place as well.
Yeah.
So just wanted to provide council, there was some concern on the screenings that were there, that we did go out there, address those concerns and bring back images that those areas are properly screened.
So I think, Brian, if I could, I mean, I think it's good to know that it's working as intended. That's a good thing. And, you know, we have improved our lakes over the last 30, 40 years, so that's a good thing. I think the areas, one was safety, and this is very good and very important because, I mean, I went down there, a kid could have walked right in there and they could have, it was dangerous. So we've got that taken care of, very important. I think the other issue is people don't necessarily know that we've got all kinds of crud coming all the way from Wally's all the way down. And so when it rains, there were pictures of a child kind of swimming, kind of, and the mom was watching because they didn't know what this thing was. And my guess is professionally, we don't really want children swimming in there, right?
No.
Maybe
So is there?
I would have done that when I was a kid. I hate to say it. That would have been me in there, so.
Yeah, and she was delightful, and I was like, no. So is there a way, is it as simple as just putting a sign up and saying,
Yeah.
hey, this is what it really is? So that kiddos,
Catch
Or-
basin, no swimming or something, or.
Sure.
yeah,
I did that when I was a kid and got poison ivy from my belly button down.
so those might be the two kind of critical factors. We've already taken care of one, and that might be the other one.
Okay.
But you know, as far as fencing goes, you know, we've got all these lakes, so having open ponds is not a big issue for us. You know, we got 8 lakes in the city. I mean, which is probably more of a danger than a pond that can be at most 2 feet deep for 3 days. So I definitely wouldn't want to go with fencing because then you can't get at the kid when you want to get them out.
I think it's just informing, because when it's dry, kids, you know, they'll have a soccer ball and they'll be kicking it and running around down there. And it's just this.
And then you're talking about maintaining and.
Yeah.
And everything else around it. I'd rather just, I think if you post a couple of signs in 2 different areas saying, you know, like say holding pond or whatever you want to call it, drainage ditch, no swimming or no whatever.
You did mention that it was functioning properly and that the grass wouldn't die,
Yeah.
but it looks like the grass is dead.
Well, there,
It is right
that's,
now.
right by the flared end outlet. You don't want a lot of grass to grow there just because then it'll
Sure.
plug it up, so.
It's not too bad.
I don't exactly know what Matt did right by that flared end.
And that's never been grass, because that's right almost close to Pleasant,
Okay.
going down toward across the lake right there.
Yeah, it's greener further. this
Yeah,
way.
the big area.
The basin itself.
Yeah, the basin, yeah, middle of the basin.
I got a couple things. I just wanted to applaud this process of actually getting back to the council, because when we get contacted about an issue with a street or the Dairy Queen
Mhm.
washout issue, it's nice to actually have something like this come back here, and then we have follow through on this end, and we make sure that the problem has been taken care of. So, because we had some
Which
people
hasn't
out there
happened
in the past saying, I've been talking to the city for 9 years, haven't gotten any action. I'd like to see, you know, that we do this
This is
moving
good.
forward for other issues that come up for our constituents. So that's awesome. So
I think
thank
our
you.
Staff and our contractors did a great job on this.
Yes,
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
The one thing because I've got some history with this, my family happens to be, right, have that drain into the lake there and used to be able to stand out in 3 inches of water, 60 feet out into the lake because of that. This ran out so fast that it pulled up all the sand. So they put this in, and I was just wondering if, I know you reviewed the documents, but have you actually seen a rain event there? Because what initially had happened, we installed it, spent the money there. The water pooled and it pooled too long, so it just stood there. So it became a mosquito infested thing. They came down there and they just jackhammered out the mouth of this thing. And so essentially the water was just running through that park and running straight down into the lake again. And it was bypassing really any holding opportunity to have the sediment drop out and the cigarette butts and everything else. So I was just curious if the way it's set up now today, other than what it was planned, but the way it is now existing actually functions the way it should.
I have
That would be
not-
my concern.
I have not been there during a storm event,
Okay,
so I have not seen how it functions, other than all I could base it on was the testimony that I saw that the resident talked about, that it
Yeah.
took within 2 days it drained down, so.
I would like to just see it.
He filmed his water, so you can see how much water had rained, and then he filmed it and watched it going down. So it's pretty detailed, but I think it's a good question. Sometime when it rains, probably would be
Yeah,
a good
absolutely.
idea. to
Yeah.
Check it out.
Just to make sure it's
Mhm.
as engineered, it's,
Mhm.
we have it working the way it should be, because
Mhm.
it shouldn't allow it just to rain, pours in there and it just dumps into the lake, and that would kind of tell me the way it's set up right now, that it just flows right down and out. And there's, I think before they had it up higher, so it would stay in that park a little bit longer.
Right, they did
And-
move they did do.
Yeah,
I don't
they
know if did
literally, and that's part of why it
some-
was a safety issue, is they got hammered out of there and then it never really got fixed. So anyway, just
Hmm.
a little bit of history on that. So,
Thank you.
yep,
Thank you.
thank you.
May I ask you, Brian, a question that's not related to this? Brian, how are we doing on the lead service lines?
Good, we finished the inventory, I think 150 were able to get in and document. So we are preparing to send out the annual notices. They're gonna be going out before the end of the month. We have to send out, again, we still have to send it to the people that have identified lead services, galvanized services, or unknown. So those letters will be going out for the end of the month.
Okay, thank you.
There's nothing further. Are we ready to go back over to calendars? Thank you, Brian.
Welcome. Yep.
Mayor of the council, I'm pinch hitting tonight for Missy on the calendar for 2026. Looking for council feedback on the possibility of adding in a monthly work session for council. We've been kind of doing them ad hoc as needed in 25. I'm finding that they've been beneficial and just kind of want to make them a formal, adding them into 26's schedule. Missy did look at when the availability would be from a other meeting standpoint. That first Wednesday of the month at 5:30, there seems to be no other board or commission meets at that time. And is looking for council feedback on A, do you feel there'd be value in having a work session every month? And then B, does that day and time work for council? Also, if there's no items for a work session, we can always cancel them, but just kind of having on the calendar to kind of make sure if we have stuff that kind of piles up. Some of these discussion items that we're doing now would then get moved to that work session, so it also kind of help balance out the meeting loads as well.
Dave?
I guess I was wondering if how this would work with the strategic plan. You know, could we use one of these nights for the strategic plan?
If you move to the first Wednesday, you could probably do the first Wednesday in February, you know, because he's looking at that late January, early February, you know, for approval, so we could move that in there. Just having them on the calendar is gonna be beneficial, so I just know 3 items come up, I don't have to add them to a discussion, I can just say we're gonna workshop those, you know, at 5:30, you know, in more of an informal work session.
As long as we can cancel them if there's no agenda.
Yep.
I'm comfortable with it.
Sounds good to me.
I'm
So
okay
I
with it.
think, I would prefer 6 to 5:30, but you know, it just it gets a little rushed sometimes. Anybody else? We're talking Wednesday. Anybody else on timing?
6 is fine.
6? Gives us a
I'm good
little bit
with-
more time to get here.
Well,
Are you looking at me?
Well-
Just kidding. No, I'm
Maybe
coming in
I'll
hot usually, but,
Debate.
but I do like getting things done a little earlier too.
That's
So
the time to
5:30,
supper.
5:30 worked for me too. So
Supper between Jeopardy and the meeting.
So-
Either time, you're only talking a half hour, 5:30 would work for me too,
Yeah.
the sooner the better for me, but it doesn't matter.
but yeah.
So I think you've got our buy-in on that. Maybe that'll help us shorten these meetings, guys, right?
So I guess I have to see about 50-50 on 5:30 or 6, so is there, if you,
Doesn't matter.
And so I'm the only one who,
If Judy's got her
that's.
need or,
it is a little easier for staff to do a 5:30 because we typically are
Then
here.
we'll do 5:30.
Otherwise, you're sort of in that 5:30 is your
We'll do
All
5:30.
right, Brian.
It's all
I
good.
said I'm good.
It's all good.
Do we get
Um,
like a meal with this then?
You can bring your own meal in if you want to. I'm not gonna look down on
Lunch
you.
box.
You bring it
Yeah,
in.
bring a lunch
Yeah.
box.
Go to the restaurant in town. Oh, wait.
May I make a
was gonna say,
suggestion
go.
for the first meeting in January?
What?
That we look at the fee structures.
So moving to the Park Street parking lot excess funds discussion.
Yes, Mayor, members of council, as part of our new kind of getting council on the front end of design work versus on the back end of design, project design, is taking a look at some of the options for how we are going to invest the excess funds from Park Street parking lots. If you recall, this was bid out as part of Ackerson 295th project. We did get pretty favorable quotes. So at the end of the project, we ended up with approximately 135,000 plus or minus leftover of dollars that can be allocated into our downtown. These are encumbered funds that have to be spent within our central business district because they came out of a bond issuance that's been allocated for downtown. So we have to spend them in the downtown. Looking for direction tonight on just sort of what are some of the priorities that you want staff to look at as we start exploring what the aesthetics improvements, investments could be. But I also want to take a moment to sort of set the table for what already is ordered and will be installed in 26. So we do have 4 cafe tables and 16 chairs that'll be installed in the spring of 26, as well as 2 picnic tables. Everything that you see has been ordered, has been taken from the city's design guide, which was included in your packet, just to provide some background for the standards that we're using for the items selected. We also have 5 backless benches and 5 back benches that have been ordered. The reason why we had to order 10 benches in total, these are custom orders. We couldn't just do a onesie twosie. We had to order a sizable enough to make the production run work. So we ended up with 5 backless and 5 back benches that look like the ones here. Again, those will be installed within the central business district in the spring. And then finally, we have planter boxes that'll be installed to block the vehicle access into the plaza area in the spring. Those expenses have already been expensed. That's not included in what's remaining. So the goal for tonight is just to provide some context or some ideas of what could be done. What I will do once I get the feedback tonight, I will be meeting with Bruce from Talala, who did the design work here, and ask his feedback on it and ask him to help guide sort of, here's our budget, here's some of our priorities, help us shore up the quotes, because the numbers that are included in the packet are just preliminary numbers. Those aren't actuals. Those are just sort of preliminary quotes. I was looking for direction on, is this a good list to start with, or is there something else that we want to take a look at as we sort of dial in our investments?
There is, go ahead.
Oh, what's the cost of a bench? You know, just a flatbed, I mean, approximately.
So when I cut with everything was custom with the 2 picnic tables and the 5 bench, I don't know what the split breakdown was. I know the total package order was about 35,000 for all of those, which is actually less
So
than
a
what,
couple thousand for a bench.
probably somewhere in there, but it actually was less than actually what we get them custom made.
So if we wanted more benches, I know in some towns and cities, they, you know, I mean, we've seen them in Alfred and Park and all these other things where people can put a name tag, a name plate on a bench in memory of somebody or whatever. I mean, I wonder if we should put that out there, that if, you know, these are the benches we're gonna make, but if you'd like one in memory of somebody.
Now I asked for a donation, I mean.
Right, I mean-
But I mean, what I'm going for tonight is basically like, you can
Okay.
look at, you know, the goal for it to focus in on, okay, we have some other things that are in the design guide, some other things that were kind of talked about as part of our parking lot
Okay.
aesthetics.
We can talk about it later.
We have some extra funds, give staff direction and say, when I work with Bruce, say, we've met, our priority is, you know, parking lot signs.
So then my next one then is looking at the sign for Lindstrom. When Chisago put theirs in, and I have to turn my head sideways to read Chisago City going up and down, drives me crazy.
So there's a
I mean,
reason,
can't you write Lindstrom with the L starts in the top and goes down instead of looking sideways and having it go up and down?
the design committee met, went through that design, and that was the selected design for the space where it was located at. So that was vetted.
I mean, I don't mind the cut out the thing like that, but why can't the L be on top where the M is and it goes straight down? So it actually says Lindstrom as you're driving by, it reads like this instead of reading like this.
There was a reason
And
for
we
it.
did look both ways.
Yeah.
Really?
And,
It
yeah,
just
yeah.
drives me crazy. That's just
And
my
he-
personal,
Yeah.
He explained kind of why.
it just does.
So I guess gotta go back, I'll just go through what, so,
Anyways, sorry, that was just.
Oh,
my-
I think, well, Dave, did you have something? We were, sorry.
Well, I wanted to literally backtrack to last month. When we approved the assistant city manager, administrator. We approved taking about $17,000 out of the EDA budget. So I guess I would really like us to pay off the debt for the Holmquist property out of the first money to help the EDA be full, and instead of being 17, we'll give them 15,000 of the 17,000 back for the next 5 years. So I mean, I would really like that to be a consideration, literally on the top, and then everything else to go after that. Because the EDA is tight for money, and we made it tighter with the budget that we approved for the new city assistant.
Can a fund even come onto this?
so technically, it's, if the Holmquist lot is a lot that's downtown.
Okay.
It would qualify for it. However, also on the EDA's perspective, because, but you're not wrong that the EDA's budget doesn't have a lot of room for extra projects in it. However, they are funded right now to sustain operations in 26 without having major impacts to programming. If they were to bring on 7 or 8 different programs that all require different funding levels, that would impact it. But again, right now, they are funded to maintain operations in 26. If there was a little bit of a need on the facade improvement program, we do have some cash that we can put in there. We can partner with the county to potentially help refill that. So from a funding standpoint, the EDA they're not completely hamstringed, but they don't have the ability right now to take on a massive undertaking, like designing a brand new industrial park, for example. There's not the capital there, but to be fair, $15,000 a year is not going to move the needle that much to get that done either at this point. So while you could pay off the debt with it, your bang for your buck might be better spent making these investments right now, because there is a plan down the road. Once that debt falls off, the EDA will be able to get that in their budget. Their debt is budgeted in their budget right now.
Yeah, I know that.
Yeah.
But when we looked at their budget originally, when we looked at our ad valorem budget, the assistant city administrator was not taking any money out of that. So what I'm saying is that we're just more or less keeping them whole to the budget we had literally approved back in August and September. And that's what I'm saying, is we're making them whole back to August and September.
That is, I mean, that's a fair argument to make, but again, you look at this, if you want to make you have money left over, so the other options are, what are those investments that you can make? Because you do have funds available right now. And I will say, we have a debt service plan for EDA, and I would also counter, I mean, until the EDA comes forward with a defined list of how they're going to allocate that $15,000 a year. We're also, that loan is a zero interest loan, so we're not paying interest on it too, so it's.
I
3
think,
months.
Yeah, and it's only 15,000 a
Correct.
year. I think there's 4 years left.
I think a flip side of that is, we've got a vision here for a vibrant downtown, and we've been executing for 2 years, and we've been hitting it out of the park. All major TV stations have had us featured, some of them multiple times. We were in Minneapolis St. Paul Magazine. I think I'm sure you probably have talked to some of the downtown businesses where they said they've never had a year like they've had this year. It's been primarily food and some of the kind of shopping, like the Swedish store. So I think in terms of economic investment, this is part of that, is making Lindstrom exceptional.
Yeah, and well, my 2 cents on this is I really think we need to just do what he has prescribed and do it complete. Like, I don't want to order just a couple benches and a couple things, and we put the benches over there and we bought this, but it's not complete. Like, we talked about lighting
I was just gonna
down
bring that up.
there. We talked about, so let's
On the picture here,
the painted concrete,
Yeah.
like, let's do it so it looks like what's been
Can you put it up
prescribed.
again?
I would say versus spreading this
Okay,
around to
paint
different, spreading this around to
No,
different
No,
things
no,
that,
further than.
Oh, I don't have that in my.
I mean, as an alternative, or not an alternative, but a sequence. I would like to see an expert say, okay, here's the bigger, and here's the bigger
Yeah.
picture. Here's what will give you the biggest bang.
Yeah.
And then we know what we can afford with this shot,
Mm.
and then we know what we can budget for 27,
So
so
it-
28.
how do we get to the finish line?
How
So
do
in,
we
thi-
get done?
so in this picture here that I have on my computer, where it shows by the bakery, in front of the bakery where, you know, where it's got the, like Brian said, where it's got the contenary lights, the cafe table, I mean, is that part of our plan already, that's
Yeah,
already
so,
purchased?
yeah, those materials.
stuff was already
with-
there.
With the exception
Just-
of the cannery lights, those were not included.
Okay,
but
and,
everything- The materials in there.
And the painting of the pavement?
That was pavers.
They
That's
took pavers and stuff.
versus
Okay,
painting.
so that pavers, that's all.
That's because the bakery wanted it.
But, and to be fair, so if council's okay, I can go to Bruce and say, okay, we have 135,000 plus or minus. You designed
How
your
to spend it.
Park Street plan, you designed the downtown plan. You know these quotes, because he's the one that gave me
Yeah.
these estimate
Tell
quotes.
me
I
what,
said,
tell me what we can spend that hundred.
dial this in.
What else we can do?
Biggest bang, biggest
Give us the
bang.
biggest bang for the
Biggest
buck
for the
on this
buck.
one, because again, this is his firm's work.
Yep.
And,
Right.
you know, there's gonna be some design work from his side to sort of shepherd this through, but then he
Mhm.
can say, here's the cost to get this from, the biggest bang for that, it'll be 10,000 worth or 15,000 worth of their time to go from concept to in the
Because
ground.
wasn't that supposed to have some fencing too that we talked
Yeah.
about?
Yeah.
Yeah, and that would be also, we can say parking lot fence, you have $135,000. What do you suggest that we do? He could then come back, if council's okay with that, I'm happy to bring that to Bruce, I'm meeting with him hopefully next week.
Can we do that in a work session?
Correct.
I mean,
Yeah,
cause I would like, instead of parking there, I'd get rid of parking and have welcome to, Lindstrom,
Yeah,
welcome and a
welcome,
little
yeah.
P at the bottom, right? I mean,
Yeah,
just,
whatever, yeah.
you know,
I mean,
but
parking sign,
we
parking
can,
sign.
we can discuss that at a
Yeah,
work
Extra
session,
time.
so
different time.
two things on this, we have.
same with the benches and everything else, yeah.
We're at the spot right now where we don't have a clock that's ticking over our heads. This is not tied to a construction project. We have capacity. We have this money's there. We do need to get it spent. But we have, and we're also in November, so nothing's gonna go on the ground until
Yeah.
May or June. So we have plenty of time to do that. What I can do is I can go to Bruce and say, here's the budget, come up with the best bang for your buck,
Mhm.
design the proposal out. And then we come through and make those kind of minor tweaks and say, I don't want parking, you want this to be this. For those adjustments, he then can go back, refine the quotes, and we can get everything executed on. Bring back the final aesthetic package for 26, signs, banners, whatever that is. And then get that approved and get that integrated in all downtown projects in 26, if council's okay with that.
Including plantings.
Yeah.
Correct, yeah, I mean, yeah, that'll be, you know.
We were talking about that, yeah, earlier.
And the earlier the better, so that we can order everything and it gets here in time.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
so I think there is a
Order
time
spring.
frame.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to do this in May.
We
but,
need to
yeah.
decide this within the next month or two, so you can,
I
because
was
what
saying-
happened with
I was
this other
saying
project,
January, by January,
we don't have the
to think-
tables and stuff.
Yep.
A year later almost, so.
So I like what Brian said earlier, have the project, don't say, okay, I got $135,000 to spend, let's spend this. Let's have a project, if it's $250,000, $350,000,
We can, yeah.
make it over this amount of time.
Yeah.
Have from here to 135,000, this is what we get, but anticipation is that we have this and then this, so that in the end, hopefully there's an end soon.
Yeah.
3 years or so, whatever that project timeline is, we have the milestone 1, milestone 2, milestone 3. And we get there instead of just saying, hey, we got $135,000
Yeah.
burning a hole in our pocket.
Totally,
Okay.
agree.
Yeah.
So I will, and the
Absolutely.
benefit I would say to that point, with Bruce working on the overall downtown planner beds as well, I'll have him integrate that into that cost too, to say, how does that impact this? What can we do from aesthetics? And I'll sort of defer to his team's expertise in sequencing, and I'll say, give me a 5-year capital plan for a downtown.
This is those pavers around the trees.
Yeah, he's working on that project as well right
Perfect.
now. So I mean, and the benefit, everything under his shop right now, he's familiar with all of it. He's shepherded it all through. I'll have him come back and say, we have cash right now to do 135 and 26, but we want to take a look long-term of what else can we do down the road so we can get all that planned out. And
Don't have them limited to, this is how much I got.
I'll limit him a little bit. I want to come back with 5 million worth of projects.
No, but
Yeah.
I mean, I think that just looking at it as a one-time wonder kind of thing, okay, we got 135,000 to spend, isn't gonna get us where we need to be.
I will let him know that, and he's been around long enough to understand how government budgets work, so I'll say, I'll communicate that out with him and ask him to come in.
I hear the sentiment is biggest bang for the buck, and then we sequence it out
Yeah.
and we'll figure out funding. And
No, I
we
agree
do
with-
need to kind of think through this though, because it'll come out in our strategic planning, but you know, he did the design for the Swedish Immigrant Trailhead, and that time is going to be upon us, and we're gonna have to discuss that in January real fast. It's coming fast.
Yeah, I just want to say, I tend to agree with Dan that we really need to include the platter beds in the whole design, not just the Park Street parking lot. We really need to,
Yeah, I was gonna
that's,
say,
I really agree with Dan on that.
scope is from where? Is it from, because Oberstar Park needs a total
Yeah,
refresh.
Ocean Park is on there.
Total.
It's not in the downtown planner bed scope. It didn't, so he's not looking at that, but I can add, I'm gonna come back with another, what we did last year, give him that retainer where he come in, I can just do one-off projects with him. That was on my list for 26 to say, work on that as a,
But isn't that, can't we just get rid of the separate projects and put this all together as one project?
yeah, I can say, I can basically say, hey, come back and redo this whole thing.
Cause I think that's what Greg is saying, like, if we're gonna talk about paw prints, we're gonna have, what does this thing look like in 2-3 years?
So let me, I
And
know
we
he's-
start banging.
I have
away.
I have a couple emails. I know he's out of the office right now, so when he gets back in, he's on my top of my list to get this thing framed out. I'll come back with a proposal that encompasses all this, but if we warehouse this or put this in his work plan, that's gonna provide that uniformity of vision
Yeah.
for all of downtown.
Different locations.
Yeah, and we got a great start
Yeah.
for funding.
Mhm.
So,
Oh,
We have a great start.
That's
Great
the
start.
bridge.
so,
I know. but I
You
just
know.
say-
thank you.
So on that, and just, you know, to kind of ballpark where we were really focusing with that task force we had, is if you look at County 20, you're headed toward the west. That's kind of the border of the quote old part of town. We called it Gamlistan, right? And then on the east or west side, it was the bridge. That's essentially east to west, where if we were gonna focus our energy, focus our work, we're really kind of trying to carve out a downtown that is Scandinavian, historic, quaint, etc.
I would say maybe, do we stretch that to Marlene's
He did.
thing? And yeah,
He
and if
did.
there's a signage, entrance sign from, it'd be more down by plastics.
Yeah, I
but,
think some of
yeah.
it comes with, as we start thinking about the bike trail, and nobody knows how to get to Almondsdracht because there's no sign.
Yeah.
That's why we were kind of zeroing in on 20 as
20,
a place that, you know, really should have some wayfinding.
And in our, again, in the highway plan, you know, they talked at one time by the bridge here in Lindstrom to go underneath whatever to.
Get the
to-
trail.
To get the downtown loop in there, and it was brought up, what, 3 times, I think, when we had that meeting. And they showed some different plans, and that, we both talked about, that would be huge for us to be able to
Okay.
go from that south side to the north side and go underneath that bridge so people can walk across like that instead of having to go across the traffic.
Yeah.
And that was kind of a, I mean, it was a concept that they did, and they actually brought up.
Kind of like they do over in St. Croix Falls.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm hearing a lot of support for this and appreciation that we've got Bruce to be a consistent and very talented guy.
I will reach out and have him come back with some ideas and scope and get this moving forward.
Cool.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Staff updates.
Great, let me switch gears here. Mayor as a council, we got update on the assistant city administrator hiring. So applications pool closed last Friday. Total of 54 applications came in, which is probably the biggest applicant pool I've seen in the recruitment probably in the last 5 years, you know, and I've managed quite a few recruitments. So very, very pleased with the number of applications received. They are currently being reviewed and working to set up initial interviews. Interviews with the interview committee are scheduled, anticipated at this point for the first week of December, with final interviews that second week. We still are on track right now. If those dates hold, to bring back the selected candidate for council consideration during the December meeting. I also talked to Soren about, I know there desire on the council to meet the final candidates for that second interview, to have them meet the final two, just to kind of one-on-one. We do have an option, so if you are interested in meeting that second candidate, there is an option that council can participate, but not violate open meeting laws. It's basically, way it was described is that you sit separate in different rooms and you don't ask the same questions. We don't violate serial meeting laws. So there is a workaround that's there. If you're interested in that, I will reach out to the full council with the dates and times for when the second candidates will be coming in for an interview. For that final interview. And if you're interested in participating, we can make that, we can accommodate that during that. Anticipate probably 15-20 minutes with the candidate, more informal conversation versus a formal interview process. That's sort of what we can do for those who aren't on the hiring committee. Also have as part of that process, they will be coming in to meet with staff. And that the finals will come in, meet with staff as part of a kind of like coffee/lunch type activity. And then they will also be spending quite a bit of time with me, just to make sure that their personality fits, that can work with the person, that they're not just faking it during an interview. It's harder to fake when you're sitting in a car with me for a couple hours. I know, I asked my wife, she's a saint for putting up with me, but it's more to make sure that we're a good fit as a team. So there is a pretty robust back end for the finalists that are coming in, but I've been very, very happy with the number of applicants that came in and also the quality of the applicants as well. It's a very strong pool that we have for that position.
So just to clarify a little bit, so there's 54. Mike and I will not see 54.
Oh.
Dan's gonna go through that initial screening and really bring it down, then we'll get involved. We don't know exactly what that cutoff is. Usually there's a drop. All of a sudden you'll see a little bit of a drop. Could be, between 8 and 9 or whatever. And that's when we'll get involved. So, it's essentially how it's gonna work.
I'm having to readjust so that I may add another round of screening in there. I was not anticipating this many applicants. It's a great problem to have. So I'm just maybe adding another round of screening before it gets to the interview committee. I originally was I thought I could select it down initially just on scoring. So I'm looking at right now is adding another round or kind of an initial screening that's just myself participates in to say, here's the top handful.
And Dan's got a pretty good rubric that he's using to whittle that number down to a reasonable, interview process.
Dave?
I just want to comment, the East Central Regional Development Commission has an opening for the executive director. And we've got 130 applicants.
Wow.
And some awfully good quality people.
Wow.
That's awesome.
I'm on the committee, so that's why I have access.
That's why they know you are, Dave. That's why all those people are applying.
Yeah,
So that's good for us. Hopefully that bodes well for our Director of Public Works search. So yeah, I think we're glad we're move while it's warm. Anything else on the hiring?
Nope, nothing there. I've updated the EDA business breakfast. We did held that was held last Wednesday. Event was well attended. I gave an update presentation on what's happening in Lindstrom, sort of a project update. I'll look ahead to 26, and then also reviewed the architectural facade envisioning for the buildings that we did on Park Street to sort of showcase how the new building design standards could be implemented into structures within our downtown. That work was well received by those in attendance.
Very much.
Also happy to report that there's been some follow-up with both the city and the county for some of the programs that were discussed during the breakfast. So it's always good to have those programs get out to the business community, but also have them come back and follow up. So I'm happy to report that as well. So all in all, a good business breakfast, and we'll continue to do that in the future as well.
So I just wanted to comment, thought Dan did a great job. We appreciate, you really kind of showed your leadership and brought Nancy, who could kind of show some of the new incentives at the county level. So greatly appreciate that. You can tell that the businesses are responding to Dan. I think the project that we had was highly unusual. I mean, your engineer, your lawyer said this is kind of unusual, but the truth is it's getting people talking. So they're talking to each other rather than them coming straight to us. And that's what needs to happen, because we don't know what their garbage needs are and we can't solve that. they need to get together to be able to communicate, and I think it's fostered that, which is a really good thing. And Mr. Shalene is stepping up and saying, hey, I'm gonna start doing some revisions. I don't need money. I want to get going on this. And I thought that showed, good, as we've had consistently for the past 2 years, really good leadership from the business community.
Thanks, Miranda, for keeping the sun out of her eyes.
She did,
Yeah.
she did a great job.
Great job.
Set that all up. She really did, very much so.
Boards and commissions, we are still accepting applications for boards and commissions. To date, we've got 2 parks applications in. There are a couple others that have expressed interest in applying. We also have 4 EDA applications that are in. We are on track to get candidate interviews to take place in December with the appointments at the December council meeting. So we do have applications have been received. The new application portal is working. It's nice every time I get an email now, it says Laser Future Form's been submitted. It's there. I don't have to know where it goes. It automatically files it in the archive for us. So have
When does that
received
close?
applications. What's that?
When does that close?
I believe it's the 24th.
Fourth,
Okay.
The
24th.
24th, so right after Thanksgiving, or right around Thanksgiving.
So we're still short one for
Next
park,
time.
because there's 3 openings on park.
Oh,
There's a couple that have expressed interest. They haven't submitted applications.
Yeah.
But I know there's a few names that have floated around, but I have not seen applications done.
Sat next to somebody this morning and said, hey, we might have, so we just need to be ready, because, it's better to have too many or right on than come up short. So good work there.
And then just the last one, it's not on the formal thing, but I also want to talk about, I was up I met with Tom and Gina at the liquor store on Monday. And with Wright, the new POS system, and just walk through some of kind of a post deployment sort of how things are going. The system is working. They have over 1,100 people signed up for the loyalty program right now. So we have a lot of good traction in the loyalty program. Tom and Gina are going to be working on a quarterly report that kind of shows where the liquor store is and what the plan is, kind of what they're anticipating happening in the quarter. Right now, we're kind of mid Q4, near the end of it, but they're going to be taking a look at what they've got to date and the future, but also to look at into Q1 of next year. Tom's going to get me that draft this week. I want to review it to kind of finalize it. We'll kick it out to council next week. That format will then be used moving forward in 26. We'll make sure the quarterly reports go out. We're using quarterly versus monthly because of kind of the cyclical nature of the liquor store. It's a little bit easier to take a look at a 3-month look ahead. So look for those reports to come out of the liquor store with frequency and starting now in 26 all the way through 26.
Question on it, yeah. Has there been any thought with the new federal law that's gonna take an effect with sales with the hemp situation, and how that's going to affect our sale?
Right.
And because that's a bit, right now, when I talk to him, that's a
The big
big,
portion.
big part of what's being sold right now in the liquor store and stuff. If that goes through federal, that could cut profits down, not quite a bit, but fair amount.
Has their vendors said anything about it?
That did not come up during Monday's conversation, but I am monitoring it. I'm working with them. They have they're on the ground much more than I am with it. If it sounds like it actually, they have a year for implementation or to get that out. The assumption is, I think that the news articles I've said there's some other producers are saying that they potentially are going to work to get that changed, get that removed, so at this point, we're monitoring it, but we're not going to change course right now until we get a little more direction on it, but it is on our radar screen to watch out for that.
Does it affect this new business that has been maybe brought up?
That's
That's totally different,
That's a
right?
different,
That doesn't
yeah,
affect
this is
that.
like,
Okay.
this is hemp derived.
More,
that's
okay,
cannabis, yeah.
okay.
They're two totally,
I wasn't sure
same,
if it was.
same chemical, different.
Right, different way of doing, okay.
Yeah.
So are we ready to move on?
Did you have a question?
Oh, I'm sorry.
And no other question basically was just piggybacking with,
Okay.
my question was what Mike had.
Okay, perfect.
So thank you, Dan. Mayor and city council updates. I've got a couple, but anybody else have any updates? So, Dan, really, you're on the tourism board. Did you make a meeting this morning?
It was virtual. I had mic problems. I wasn't able to
So maybe you can kind of chirp in and help me. I would like to update you. The Explore Chisago Lakes is the new tourism. They've been going through some changes where they were connected with the chamber. They're now on their own. I think it's going to be critical that all cities and townships that have VRBOs and Airbnbs get out there and start collecting taxes. There's a 3% sales tax on that. I would say right now, my personal opinion, we're collectively not doing a good job of collecting. And so they don't have much money. They really are our only arm right now of tourism, and they're brand new and they're fledgling. And I think each city and township needs to be kind of working with them because they're the ones that can get out and get search engines and get blogs and do some of that. So I think we, again, I think we're gonna need to have a strategic conversation about tourism if we see that as a part of our economic development in our work session or our strategic plan.
Yeah, do we have, I'm sorry, Matt,
Go ahead.
do we have licensing? I mean, how do we know how many people who has a VRBO and how many are in the city and things like that to be able to collect
There's
something?
supposed to be licensed, the county does the licensing for us, and I talked
The
to
county
Cam.
does?
Yeah, the county does our licensing for us, and we are collecting those that we know. They are submitting their receipts to us and their payments, and then we are turning those over to the county. The issue you run into, if somebody's operating a VRBO that's not licensed, we don't have staff right now that's running through VRBO listings to make sure everything's matching up for
Right,
licensing, but those that we are aware of that do submit, we do turn that money over. But there's probably some that are out there that are operating that don't have proper licensing. I'm not just saying Lynch, but probably in the county as a whole.
Oh, I'm sure there is.
We know there are.
Yeah,
We're not
sure
doing a
there is.
good job of collecting, and that's our source of revenue.
Correct. That is that group source of revenue for sure.
So that's just an update on that group. And then the other update is the Rotary won the big idea for the Chisago Lakes Community Foundation. And their idea was to really make enhancements to the Swedish Immigrant Trail so that it'll become a premier trail from Wyoming all the way to Taylor's Falls. And so in doing that, we promised, if I'm a Rotarian, by the way, we got 10,000 from the Community Foundation and a commitment of up to 25,000 of matching. So we've got some money. The 5 cities and one of the townships will get amenities. So for our trailhead, we have Unruly Acres has done some designs. They're going to do a bike rack. They're offering to do Rotary's offering to do a larger bike rack in Lindstrom and in Center City because it's in the downtown area and we believe we'll need a larger bike rack. That's what we're proposing. It's kind of just FYI in case you have any concerns about it. And then they gave us 5 designs, including a dollar horse design and a coffee pot design. So we'll need to kind of choose. Collectively, all 6 entities are going to need to choose. And they will be donating that to the city of Lindstrom. So that's kind of the FYI on that one. You're gonna hear a lot about the Swedish Immigrant Trail. It's gonna be done in Center City. I believe Chisago City's putting plans in 26 because they know it's coming and we don't want to be the one gap in terms of getting people to stop at a town.
And
Oh, no, I'll get to
okay,
that.
yeah.
In Center City with the Swedish Immigrant Trail, they're gonna have a bridge, you're gonna need a bridge in order to use the old trail. Where are they gonna come up with the kind of money for,
That's been funded.
that's what funding?
That's been funded. They received what was it,
Million.
$2.4 million grant.
Grant for that.
Good.
Yeah. Oh, Brian and then
Yeah,
Mike.
Mike?
No, go
Oh.
ahead.
Go. This sounds amazing. I just wanted to, as these things come up, how do we tie in our architect design so that in the future, we're not scrambling to kind of add, somebody wants to do this, somebody wants to do that, like it should have to go through, you know, what the total master plan is, or should be adapted into it so that we don't have just these one-off, like quickly,
Correct.
we've gotten some, dollar horse, where do you put it? We're jumping around. So hopefully it's part of our strategic plan. So that's gonna just give an update on the lid too.
So the bike rack would fit in with the dollar horse on that location.
Mm.
It would be a piece that as you design your trailhead, but the dollar horse, you could move it around the site. So it's an opportunity for us to put bike racks in town right now, because we are desperately in need of bike racks in downtown, as one is bike through there. But it is also one of those things where you take a design, say you make you make the bike rack a mini dollar horse, so it keeps that cohesive look to it, 'cause same artist making it. It is a piece that as we would design the trailhead, that's a movable piece that we could continue to incorporate. It would not be, combative, or not be in conflict with the design that we're trying to achieve for that.
I think the big thing for me is just that we don't create a gaudy kind of carnival-ish kind of atmosphere uptown, and we've got water tower here and a water tower next to the dollar horse, and we got this, it's kind of a discombobulated kind of mismatch of stuff. I would assume that, I mean, that's why we hired the architect to make sure these things tie together and are,
100%. And I
Yeah.
think we're lucky that he's the guy that
Oh,
did
okay,
that
good.
design. He's
Yeah.
doing the downtown. I mean, he's
Yeah.
becoming a pretty integral part of our
Yeah.
team.
yeah. The only other,
No,
I'll just finish, just an update on the lid, Lake Improvement District. Obviously, they are kind of working hard to get the channel figured out. And so they've come up with they're working on some design options for what that channel should look like. And,
Nice.
there's three different options they're taking a look at, but in order to get permitting and, go through the DNR and all of that, and they're pushing for kind of a maximum approach and somewhere in the middle and somewhere a little less aggressive, but pretty excited that that could really be something we realize and see in the future, is to have our chain of lakes back open again. So that's amazing.
Good progress on that.
And to tie into Brian a little bit, on the trailhead, are we gonna have some signage or something so people know that our trailhead is where the dollar, you know what I'm saying? Are we?
Well, I think
Working
there
on-
was a master plan that,
Yes. And-
yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah, it's like
Yeah,
parking and
yeah,
bathrooms and,
There's a,
I mean, it was
So
kind
there
of
is
a,
something
there's a plan
planned
there.
ready
Yep.
for that, okay.
It's a,
And-
yeah.
And I will also say, Bruce did look at, when we were looking at I did talk to him, I said, is there a specific location that we should put the dollar horse? He said, just get it there right now, we'll move it around
Okay.
when the construction happens. So he's aware that it was there and didn't, he thought it was a great addition to downtown. I talked to him.
Okay,
Yeah.
good.
So good, a lot of good stuff happening there. I mean, I think the point is we're putting pieces there because we don't have the grant money. So we gotta go get that grant money. There's gonna be a little bit of work to be doing on that one. I don't believe there's any other updates, no? No? I think we're ready to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, so moved. Congratulations, we got in under 2 hours. How about that?
Hey, do we use the grant navigator?